We're not going to get into the details about lots of glands. We're just talking about a couple major ones as examples of how the endocrine system works. When you guys get into 9th grade, you'll spend more time talking about more specifics and specific hormones, how glands interact with each other, their exact mechanism. But for our purpose, we're just kind of talking about a few, for examples, talking about the hormones and how they help regulate. So, the adrenal glands. So the name itself, ad and renal, tells you about this gland. It is a gland that sits atop the kidney. It's like each of our kidneys has like a little hat on it. Those little hats are the adrenal glands. Ad means near, like adjacent. Renal means having to do with the kidneys. So these glands are near the kidneys, right on top. And you could probably guess the hormone they produce. Yeah, adrenaline. So the hormone adrenaline, you probably have heard before. What do you know about the hormone adrenaline? Anything about it? This here? Yeah, it's a hormone that people say gives you a rush of energy. Anything else about it?
It like allows you to do something you might not have been able to without it.
Okay.
Like lifting something heavier.
When is adrenaline released from our adrenal glands? Ed?
When you feel like fear or when you believe that you're in a crisis.
Yeah, exactly. It's sometimes called the fight or flight response. Okay? And so adrenaline is really a stress hormone that our body releases in times, like Abby said, that we are in danger, okay, that we're scared. Our adrenal glands release adrenaline into our blood, and this has effects throughout our body. It starts our fight or flight response. And what that means is several things happen. Our heart rate increases. Adrenaline affects our heart. Our blood pressure increases. We get a sudden infusion of glucose into our blood to give us energy. Resources are diverted from our digestive system. And so what these responses are is for us to get ready to either fight something or run away from something. So this is an evolutionary adaptation that we have when there were times when we were much greater danger than we are today. We still have this response. It's still a part of our endocrine system, but we are not in danger as much as we once were when we were hunter-gatherers and so forth. So some things can trick your body into releasing adrenaline. Like what? When might you get a rush of adrenaline?
Just like a stressful situation.
Okay, it could be something stressful. Does anyone ever purposely put themselves in a situation to encourage the release of adrenaline?
No.
Watching a scary movie?
Oh,
Going on a roller coaster? Skydiving? Bungee jumping? Those sort of things that we kind of think of as maybe exciting but also scary. Okay, those are sort of getting to our response that our body thinks we're in danger, even though we're on, something that's relatively safe. Our body thinks we're in danger and starts this response, and we'll enjoy that response. If somebody ever really scared you badly, like your little brother hid in the closet when you got home from school and then scared you. If you feel weird afterwards, like your heart's racing, your stomach feels weird, those are some of the effects of adrenaline. The thyroid gland. Thyroid gland, it's like a bow tie shape in your neck. Okay? It's sort of wrapped around your trachea. And the thyroid gland is a gland that releases a hormone called thyroxine. And thyroxine helps to regulate our Metabolism, how our body uses energy. So has anyone ever heard people say, oh, well, that person has a very fast metabolism? What does that mean? Like, when would people typically say that?
Like a skinny person, like digest food quickly, so they're skinny,
Yeah, so that they eat a lot, but they don't gain weight. That sometimes is, people say that about people, because we do. There's a variety of metabolic levels that some people burn energy faster than others. It changes as we age, as people get older, our metabolism slows down. So part of the reason why is because of our thyroid gland. Sometimes people have abnormalities of the thyroid gland. I thought there were some pictures in here. Where their thyroid gland starts to swell up, forms a goiter.
Goiter?
A goiter is a big swelling of the thyroid gland. It can be huge.
Like a turkey?
The thyroid gland also needs an element to work. And if a person is deficient in this element, they can get a goiter. Their thyroid might not work properly. And so we add this to a certain substance that we eat all the time.
Potassium. Calcium.
Why do you say that?
Uh-huh.
Tyler's right. Does anyone ever look closely at a container of salt and see what it says?
Salt.
There's two types of salt you might find.
Salt. Iodized salt
Yes.
and the other.
Iodized salt has iodine in it, which is a nutrient that our thyroid needs to work. And so that's why it's put in the salt, to be sure people have enough of it. All right, I'll come back to that video later on. Let's finish up our notes. So, guys, the last two organs that are a part of the endocrine system, they're also part of the reproductive system, which we talked about last, but for now we'll talk about the endocrine functions of these glands. So together these are called gonads, and in males the gonads are the testes, and females the gonads are ovaries. And so obviously these have reproductive functions, but they also have endocrine functions. What's the name of the hormone released by the testes?
Oh, testosterone.
Testosterone. How about the ovaries? Does anyone know the hormone released by ovaries?
And estrogen.
Estrogen. So these are what we typically think of as male and female sex hormones. Testosterone is the male sex hormone. And testosterone is what's responsible for the development of what we call secondary male sex characteristics. So these are the characteristics that we typically would think of as male characteristics. They are partially regulated by the hormone testosterone. Okay? And so things like a deeper voice, more body hair, larger muscle mass. These are what we think of as male sex characteristics, and they're controlled by testosterone. And when a male is going through puberty, levels of testosterone increase, and that leads to some of those changes. The same sort of thing is true in females. So in females, the ovaries release estrogen. Estrogen is responsible for secondary female sex characteristics. Things like changes to the hips, a higher voice, a lack of lower levels of body hair, development of breast tissue. Those are all characteristics that are controlled by estrogen. Now, one interesting thing is that males have estrogen in their bodies and females have testosterone in their bodies. We'll talk more about sort of those characteristics as we get into the reproduction section. All right, so let's finish up here with just
The puberty. What's the
labeling the glands. What's the one up here in the brain?
pituitary?
Pituitary, the master gland. So the pituitary gland actually makes many hormones which go to the other glands and turn them on or off or promote their production of hormones or inhibit it. So pituitary pituitary gland controls lots of other glands, and it's very small, it's about the size of a pea. In our neck is the thyroid gland that controls metabolism.
How's your neck control?
The adrenal glands on top of our kidneys help to regulate our fight or flight response. Pancreas produces insulin, glucagon to regulate our blood sugar. This is showing if this were in a female, the ovaries, or if it's a male, the testicles. Those are the endocrine organs that you will have to be able to answer some questions about as we get to our quiz. Any questions about any of the endocrine system? Let's watch these two videos. Yeah, we're done with our notes for today.
Oh, what? I was watching the